Every time when you see on social media this, and this, you probably totally freak out of learning Chinese. You will think it will be really hard, challenging, and even miserable. But what if I tell you this isn't that hard as you think? You better watch this video until the end, because this video may totally change the frame of Chinese learning. I need to tell you one thing if you are new here. My name is York. I was a non-native Chinese speaker. My first language is Korean, and I started to learn Chinese in primary school from totally scratch 到能用地道的中文跟别人交流的中文使用者。I acknowledge how hard Chinese is because I was learned it in such traumatically painful way. I don't even know this block is called 橡皮. But just because of this, I also have a view of all Chinese learners' perspective like you to tell you in this video some hidden rules of Chinese and something that you think is really important and difficult, but you don't need to actually learn that hard as a beginner. I don't know when you start to learn Chinese Mandarin, but I believe that what makes you can recognize it is definitely Chinese characters, 汉字. As a learner's perspective, I think there are three main obstacles to learning Chinese. No conventional logic to follow, paradox of vocabularies, and complex pronunciation of the tone. I know it sounds a little bit difficult, but let me down to detail and tell you the first one. Let me take a Korean as an example. It's totally fine if you don't know it, but if I tell you this little square is pronounced as pronounced in Korean, like and pronounced in English, then every characters it contains pronounced as well. For instance, like ma, mo, mu, mat. You may not know the meaning of it, but at least you can understand what the sounds like after I pronounce it. It's similar to Japanese hitakana, katakana, and English ABC alphabet, French, Spanish, and so many more. They have their alphabet and pronunciation rules of it. However, Chinese can't apply this rule. These two look similar, right? But this is Wang and this is Yu. Totally different. And these two with completely different writing system, but they have exact same pronunciation. They called Li in Chinese. Okay, no logic at all. That's Chinese. But Chinese characters has its own potential rules. Instead of pronunciation, it's represented in another way. Okay, let me show you the three numbers in Chinese. So 1 is right as yi, and it's just one line here, and 2 is er, it's 2 lines, and 3 is san, it's 3 lines. So there's a famous drama recently in Netflix. It's called The Three Body Problem. I don't know you guys watch it or not, but I love it so much. Leave it in the comments. And in this drama, the civilization which coming to us is called San Ti. So the sun here is refers to the three, directly from the Chinese. So San Ti is three body. The interesting thing is the sun is also have another special meaning. So it's hidden by the writing system. The top line refers to the sky, the bottom line refers to the land, and in the middle refers to our human being who live between these. So there's a person who can connect the top of sky, the land, and order all human to become one. And this person is the king. We called Wang in Chinese. Okay, continue this clue. Let's keep going on. The king is also only humans. But how can we recognize the king with others? So we need an identity. In ancient China, a person with a jade, a little point here, and then that one is the king. And this is Yu, which refers to the jade. Later on, since he is a king with hoarded jade in order to distinguish his territory, he used a big square to frame himself as a domain, and an initial country is formed, we called Guo. So let's put these two characters together, it becomes one word, is Wangguo, which means the kingdom. So simply it's interpreted as king's country. So UK is Yingguo, US is 美国, and France is 法国, and Korea is 韩国, and so many more. You can kind of make sense, right? And that's the logic of the Chinese characters. Okay, so far, even though you just learned these three characters, but in the future, once you meet this Wang, similar like this again, you don't know the meaning of it refers to, but at least you can understand it's something regarding precious, royal, or rich. Take an example, Li. This character in Chinese refers to the glass. In ancient time, due to the limited manufacturing techniques, so it's mainly used by the royal group or upper class in China. I played Genshin Impact before, and if you play it with the Chinese version, you may find the country Li Yue is right down in this Chinese characters. There are so many different Li's in Chinese, but why this one? It's just because only this Li can express the feel of the Li Yue's precious harmony and richness, which other Li cannot express. So the secret behind this, instead of just nailing on learning one character, memorizing with other relevant characters together would be much easier to memorize. Take an example from my real case. I know this is rice, me, and I also know another character, Tang, which is one of the dynasty in China. Put it together, I don't know what does it mean, and I don't know how to pronounce it either. But what I know is this character is something to eat, because the rice is in it. And later on, after I studying it, I know this is something like sweet things like sugar or candy with the same pronunciation with Tang. The second obstacle is paradox of vocabularies. Chinese characters are enormous. Even many local Chinese can't recognize them all. According to the report by the Chinese Language Institute, altogether there are 50,000 characters in this language. Even a well-educated Chinese person with doctor degree will recognize 8,000 characters, but the majority of other normal people like me will only need to learn about 2,000 to 3,000 characters is enough to use to talk and read a newspaper in our daily life. So that means our goal is never to learn all of them. Almost impossible. We only use small part of them and it's enough to use. I was made this mistake when I was studying this language initially. I pushed myself to recognize every single characters I learned, but I would forget them almost all the other day because I found I don't really need them all, but it's totally fine to communicate with other people in Mandarin. So take your time. Just learn about these new words when you only see this character with actual needs. I want to borrow an eraser, but I don't know how to say that. So just tutor what's this little block called in Mandarin, and that's done. You will memorize it. The third obstacle is the complex pronunciation tones. Tone in Chinese is called 声调, so directly translated as sound tone. There are 4 different tones like Okay, don't freak out. For this part, I just want to tell you directly about my tactics. At the beginning, no need to pronounce the tone of every characters exactly correctly. Okay, I know it's kind of obeying your conventional language learning habits, but as a Korean Chinese, my mom, she never speak with a correct tone. Never. She only used the Korean way to speak a Chinese tone. Like ch, sh, zh pronounced, she always pronounced it as like z, c, s pronounced. But it doesn't really matter with the speaking. So what I suggest that is you should recognize the character first, then make a connection with the correct tone. Actually, I have seen many native Chinese people sometimes can't pronounce with correct tone either. So take it easy. Sometimes learning with the right order can boost the intensity. And you are so lucky because I tell you this. Nowadays, there is so much Chinese relevant content on YouTube, and every piece of content is trying to tell you you should do this, you should do that, and blah blah. But what I hope is there is one video content on YouTube could, from a learner's perspective, to tell you there is something like these things you don't need to actually do initially. Save your energy and time to let you study more effectively and keep motivation on it. I think this is kind of my responsibility as a trilingual speaker's experience, which is shared on this platform. Overall, I hope this video can find value for you. If you have any questions or thoughts regarding learning Chinese, please let me know in the comments. And please share with it and hit like and subscribe. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your watching, and see you in my next video. Bye. 还是 too sweet. I don't like it.